the Russian President Vladimir Putin has announced military operation in the eastern part of Ukraine, that's the Donbass region, the United States of America has issued a statement. The President Biden says, and I quote, "The prayers of the entire world are with the people of Ukraine tonight as they suffer an unprovoked and unjustified attack by the Russian military forces. President Putin has chosen a premeditated war that will bring a catastrophic loss of life and human suffering. Russia alone is responsible for the death and destruction this attack will bring, and the United States and its allies and partners will respond in a united and decisive way. The world will hold Russia accountable." Let's go across to our news desk now to give us a sense of what's been said in the statement. Samiksha, I believe, is joining us. Samiksha, take us through the statement that's been made by the US President.
So what we are seeing right now is a statement has been issued by Biden after Putin declared war on Ukraine, saying that increasing the military operations in the Donbass region. Let me quickly read out the statement that has been put out by Biden, which says, "The prayers of the entire world are with the people of Ukraine tonight as they suffer an unprovoked and unjustified attack by Russian military forces. President Putin has chosen a premeditated war that will bring a catastrophic loss of life and human suffering as well. Russia alone is responsible for the death and destruction this attack will bring, and the United States and its allies and partners will respond in a united and decisive way. The world will hold Russia accountable." So issuing a strong statement that the NATO and the US, they are a united front when it comes to acting against Russia. So there he goes on to say that, "I will be monitoring the situation from the White House this evening and will continue to get regular updates from my national security team. Tomorrow I will meet with my G7 counterparts as well in the morning and then speak to the American people to announce the further consequences the United States and our allies and partners will impose on Russia for this needless act of aggression against Ukraine and global peace and security." He goes on to say that we will also coordinate with our NATO allies to ensure a strong united response that deters any aggression against the alliance. Tonight, Jill and I are praying for the brave and proud people of Ukraine. So yes, a lot happening, fast-paced developments as far as the Ukraine crisis is concerned, and Biden saying that a retaliation is going to be very, very strong. Back to you.
Well, absolutely. Now, what we have right now, of course, is the fact that Russia, in a sense, has declared war. It's begun. It has begun with a military operation that has been going to be taking place in the Donbass area, which claimed independence. Abhishek Kapoor joins us live from our Delhi studios. We've also got Major General Sudhakarji continuing to stay with us. Abhishek, if I could come to you first. Abhishek, give us a sense of how we could now see this moving forward, because what we are also seeing is another statement that's come in from the President Joe Biden. He says there will be retaliation. What does this mean?
Well, Nupur, as I see it, number one, of course, it's war declared by President Putin. It is clear that it is meant to take the Donbass region from Ukraine. It has already been declared independent. Ukraine, on its part, has declared an emergency. All civilian air traffic is shut. We have to tell viewers what is exactly happening. There are sporadic bombings being reported from many towns of Ukraine, including the capital, Kyiv, and their second largest city, Kharkiv. We have reports of Russian forces moving in from Black Sea route via Crimea Peninsula into the eastern Ukrainian region. Of course, the eastern Ukraine, the Donbass region, follows a shared boundary with the Russian side in its east, and there are forces coming in from that side also. There are no reports as yet if the Russian forces have moved in from the north, which is the Belarus route, where about 50,000 odd Russian troops were already there as part of military drills. I think it's clear message from Putin that, make no mistake, he's taking Donbass, he's taking the Donbass republics, and he's taking the eastern Ukrainian part out of Ukraine, and he has threatened a military action against anyone who disrupts or interrupts him and Russian forces. It remains to be seen how the West is going to respond militarily. Remember, NATO as an alliance and all the members of NATO can come together for each other's military defense as per the Article 5. But then remember also that Ukraine as yet is not a member of NATO. And in that sense, an immediate military response from United States or the West led by NATO is not possible unless, of course, say over the next 24 to 48 hours, Ukraine indeed decides to accede to NATO, becomes a member, full-fledged member, and then the military action happens. In fact, within NATO, there are differences of opinion in terms of military action, so it might not be likely, but then sanctions are in place, military supplies are there for the Ukrainians. Unless there is absolute lack of political will on the part of the present establishment in Kyiv, led by President Volodymyr Zelensky, Nupur, there is all likelihood of full-fledged war breaking out between Ukraine and Russia for some days.
Right, absolutely. In case you're just joining us on the Republic Media Network, here's a summary of the breaking news that's coming in. Russian President Vladimir Putin has announced a military operation in Ukraine's Donbass region. Putin has urged Ukrainian soldiers in eastern Ukraine to lay down weapons and return to their homes. The US President Joe Biden has responded. He's vowed that the world will hold Russia accountable. We have a state of emergency that has been placed in Ukraine. The President Volodymyr Zelensky earlier said an invasion could be the beginning of a big war on the European continent. Apart from that, Ukraine has largely now become a no-fly zone with restrictions being put on civilian aircraft. Also, just for our Indian viewers, we know at this point in time that there was an Air India flight that took off earlier this morning. It should be landing in New Delhi. New meeting of the G7 has also been scheduled. That's going to be taking place tomorrow. We also have the US President say that he will be consulting his NATO allies very, very soon. Let me go across to Major General Sudhakarji. Major General Sudhakarji, there are a lot of rapid developments that are taking place. Now, will a lot now of what happens depends on whether Russia stops at the Donbass region or whether we see them moving inwards?
Nupur, thanks once again. You see, Abhishek has given a very good narrative as obtaining on the ground, and thanks to him. The issue remains, so the viewers have to understand that this is not a conflict which has started now. It's been in slow fire since 2008, ever since Russia invaded Georgia. And thereafter, it picked up momentum in 2014 when Crimea Peninsula was annexed by Russia. And since then, off and on, there have been conflict. Unfortunately, it has not caught the attention of the public or the viewers. Now, there is a bigger dynamic narrative which is evolving. Recall last February 2021, when the President of the United States, Joe Biden, had made a statement that America is back. The transatlantic alliance is back. So this is a statement and which has been followed by abrupt and disorganized withdrawal of a superpower from Afghanistan. These are important landmark events which will define the course of action unfolding. And the European Union, as per my opinion, is a divided house. There is no unanimity. I can say very bluntly that France and Germany, in the heart of their hearts, they are not in favor of a collective and punitive action against Russia. Russia has got its legitimate security concerns. It is not one of those things which have taken place last night and today morning. It's been building up since 1997, ever since a pact was signed between the NATO and the Russia, and the European Union and the NATO forces. They have been shifting the line, the boundary, and to the east of the European Union. Remember what happened during Napoleon's time. Remember how Hitler, he extended the supply chain and invaded Russia. These memories, they will remain live in the minds of the Russians. Their concern is legitimate.
Right.
Therefore, the need of the hour is the United Nations has to play a very important role. It cannot be a sitting and lame duck It has been doing nothing for past several years.
Major General Sudhakar ji, all of these announcements are coming even as the UN Security Council is still in an emergency meeting. It came shortly after the UK actually took to the stand to talk about what they feel. Now, let me go back to Abhishek Kapoor. Abhishek, we are now getting reports from our crew on the ground over there that we are hearing blasts being reported from Kiev as well as various other parts of Ukraine. Can you give us more details as to what we are hearing from our crew over there on the ground?
Well, yes, Nupur. So again, just to keep viewers update in between all the analysis about what's happening on the ground, all the blasts that are being reported from various towns of Ukraine, many of these could be possibly missile launches by the Russians. Remember, in terms of military capability, it's an erstwhile superpower, and whatever remains of the Russian military, it is still is potentially capable of matching the West. In fact, remember, even in the case of India, for example, almost 60% of our equipment remains of Russian vintage. Having said that, what we are getting to know is that Iskander-M tactical ballistic missiles that are being used by the Russian forces